What's up, guys? We have a lot to get into. It is Monday morning. Hopefully everyone's doing well. We'll talk about what just happened this past weekend. I'll leave the stage open to you guys. I'm only going to be able to stay on for around an hour. I have a funeral to go to, so I'll stay on as long as I can. The funeral is in a couple hours, so I have to, get ready for that. All right, I'm just getting everything set up. All right, here we go. It's all good. So as you guys are tapping in, let me know how everything is going. We know we had a massive weekend this weekend. We are on a roll since the new year, since 2026, since January. On the money line regarding our long parlays, man, the stats are out there. Taking Andy Cruz over Morataya might be our only loss. We might be something like 63 out of 64 on the money line. Now, with our dogs of the week, going back to Jorge Chavez versus Gucci Flores, we had Chavez versus Flores. We're on a roll. You guys know that. We hit J-Rod versus Kane. We hit obviously Josh Kelly versus Murtazayev. We hit Abraham Cadoro yesterday, and we hit Brandon Figueroa. I mean, this is just what we do. Hopefully you guys are tailing. Hopefully you guys are trailing. Guys, if you're not in the Discord, it's pinned right there. Our Patreon is up and running. Shout out to all the new Patreons. We launched it last month. Whatever way you support the channel, whatever way you support me, whether it's joining our Discord, joining the Patreon, becoming a JSB insider, I appreciate it. It helps the channel grow. It helps me. And you guys get value. So the Swindler says, we're going to talk a little bit about our receipts real quick. I'll fill everyone in on this past weekend. All right, so this was our long parlay. Guys, if you're new to the show, we do this every week. This is a money line long parlay that we do every week. It's fun. A lot of it is fun. This is where we're taking big favorites and we're piecing them together. This one was, and you got to understand too, looking at the odds opening up during the week, when we placed this earlier in the week, our books weren't offering all the other fights. So just keep that in mind. So this one is 11 legs, and it paid plus 136. So we hit that. We hit our money line parlay last week too, which was a 10-legger. And like I said, the only money line that we've missed over the last month was the Andy Cruz fight. Okay, I'll play this. The Swindler! I think the bookies have this wrong. I think Manny Robles is going to have Brandon Figueroa reinvigorated. I think at 29 years old, he's not washed. He's never been stopped. He's taller. He has the reach advantage. He has more power. I think he's going to impress a lot of people, and I expect him to become a world champion once again at 100. And guys, this was a shocking thing for me. You know how much energy I put into this. You know how much film study I watched. But more importantly, I grew up in the sport, and I'm still in the sport. I still train. I coach. One of my fighters just fought in the tournament this weekend in the trying to qualify for the Australian Commonwealth Games. So you guys on the channel just know me as Johnny here, right? The Swindler. Shout out to Johnny's babies. But I live this. So the reason why I have to reference that is when we see matchups and we see odds hit the street and all the talking heads on, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube are going one-sided, I always hesitate. I'm like, how are they not seeing this? And so I told you guys all week in the breakdown, Figueroa, it matters, the little things. Whenever we have world title fights, and both fighters are going to have their own individual skill sets that cancel each other out during a fight. As a guy who breaks tape down and predicts winners, in your deductive reasoning process, and this is where me being a coach, me being a teacher comes into play, why I like to educate my processes and my systems. So when I'm working on my prediction, as the skill sets cancel each other's out, oh, this guy's a good body puncher, this guy has a good right hand, this guy has good feet, this guy's a good fight IQ. You then have to deduce to, all right, who are their coaches? What are their camps? What changes have they made? Who are their sparring partners? What is their history of so things like that? And not one talking head was speaking about that. And this just further proves my point on why our channel is growing, why our Discord is growing. We are going about things in a more, I guess, complex way. Because when we were seeing all week Figueroa was a 3-1 dog, and you guys on YouTube were telling me that he was washed based off of a tough performance against Joet Alexander, who's freaking tough. Joet, I always say Joet Alexander. A tough performance against Joet Gonzalez, who was tough. And then his only losses were to Stephen Fulton, who's a totally different fighter. I'm like, you guys have to look a bit deeper. And then we're going to get into it. So this is our dog of the week once again. I'm just taking you through the receipts. Receipts are important because, guys, at this stage of the game, we have a lot of haters. We have people who make fake pages under my name, which thank you for all you haters, for all you trolls. I actually thank you because you're helping us grow. But this is why it's important that we take us through our receipts, because you know damn well when we lose, the trolls come out to play. So we took Figgy here. Let me pause that. Okay, so this actually caused controversy in my Discord because we put this together during a live stream. Now, for all you JSB insiders, okay? I can't force feed everything, mate. You know, last week, what other content creator is doing this week in and week out? Last week I gave you 4 winning parlays, 4 tickets that I posted in the Patreon and in the Discord or on YouTube, and they hit. This weekend, I gave you 5, right? 5 that hit. And we didn't even talk about what happened in Mexico. We hit our long parlay in Mexico. We had Abraham Cordero. Okay. But rather than, and I don't need thank yous. You know, I appreciate your support. But rather than just even saying, hey, bro, I appreciate you, we know we're going to get some bad apples. So this ticket, which we put together on a live stream together the day before the fights, people were bitching that I didn't post this. And it's like, bro, I can't force feed everything to you. If you were to watch all of my live streams, you would have known we were speaking about these props. You would have known that I said, hey guys, right now the Andrew Kane fight, we're not getting props on it. But come the weekend, if the props do open up, I'm taking Kane by knockout. I'm taking Turner by knockout. I'm playing a knockdown prop in the Figueroa fight. Now, just because I didn't put it all together and serve it to you, you should have known that this was the move. And this is a shout out to you guys, the 20 to 40 of you right now who are floating on the live stream, who watch all of the lives. I was a bit offended in the Discord by a couple of you guys who were kind of like hating, because you know that was offensive. I find that offensive because I put a lot of work into this. I put as much energy and effort into my coaching business and writing business than I do to it's the same. So this is and I really mean this quote. You know, this is me. I write, people saying Brandon was washed was absolutely disrespectful. I'm happy for you, Figueroa. 100%. To hear any talking head, to hear any person who's like predicting boxing, referring to a fighter who as washed, that's the most utter disrespect. It's like, bro, you're saying a fighter was washed. If this fighter was on the couch with you, would you look at him and say, hey, Brandon, you're washed? No, you wouldn't. So, you know, lock it up. And this is, the disrespect on the internet was absolutely astounding. These are just the receipts. This is the love we get from our group, the Swindler. A legit world-class fighter, a guy who's been, he's going to be in there with a legit world-class fighter,
Who
a guy
else
who's
is
been
giving
fighting
you
at the
UFC
world level
parlays?
in the UFC for years now. And when you're dealing with a guy like Batista, a real veteran who could stand with you and take you to the ground, he's going to be super versatile. We know he's always going to come in prepared. This is a very no-nonsense sort of guy, and he's a very determined guy. I actually like Mario Batista's style in the octagon due to its versatility. He has multiple paths of beating you. If you're not...
Mario Batista looked amazing. We hit our UFC. So I reintroduced the UFC content to my channel last week. I did a Stats Don't Lie video for the Batista versus Loke Dog fight. And then I gave you guys this parlay. So we're not just, I grew up, I've been writing and interviewing UFC MMA fighters for over a decade. I really don't feature it on my channel, but I started this week. So we hit our UFC parlay as well. This was last weekend, if you're keeping track, because I know when we lose, the trolls try to create videos about us. So it's important they know. So that was last week. We hit everything. I gave you guys 4 tickets. And that's this week. So, stats don't lie. Results speak for themselves. JSB Insiders, we up. It's what we do. I don't play around. Like I said, I'm not just wasting my time doing this. We like to win. Yep, Starches. Shout out to Batista. Look great. Batista looked like a goddamn savage. What do you think of these? I'm thinking about printing these Swindler t-shirts coming soon on the channel. Stay tuned. So in my opinion, one of the elements of the Figueroa knockout that that jumped off the screen for me was Figueroa's timing, especially when you watch the entire fight. The one punch that Nick Ball kept going to the well was in the pocket, throwing his jab and jumping. He would leave his feet throwing the jab, which is crazy. Boxing 101, and I get it. He's 5'2". It works for him. Boxing 101, always keep both feet planted on the ground, right? It's one of the rules of footwork when you're learning how to box. You never want one foot off of the ground, ever. You want to stay balanced. And in that sequence, Figueroa, the entire fight, a little bit slower than Ball, and it's how he changed the angle on his backhand from the southpaw position. And timing trumps power, timing trumps speed.
Being at 120. And then Figueroa knocked out.
I'll play this one.
In the 12th round to become the new world champion at 126 pounds. This is why we always say in boxing, the number one attribute that trumps everything is timing. I'll take timing over speed. I'll take timing over power.
So this is the beginning of the 12th round. And shout out to, so Figueroa goes in, sets the body. His body punching was on point all fight. And he changes the angle, has him at southpaw. Ball circles around to his left, puts his back on the ropes. Watch the angle of Figueroa's backhand, though. He straightens it up. It was looped pretty much all fight. He times Ball perfectly. Ball tries to throw this leaping jab right there. Figueroa times it. Bang! Beautiful. A thing of beauty. It was gorgeous. I watched that knockout, at least 20 times. Greatest sport on earth. And I'll play one more, and then I'll give you guys shout out to Manny Robles. So this was pretty much in a nutshell.
Each other out. What is the X factor? The psychology of a fighter, the mindset of a fighter, how much this fighter can overcome adversity in a fight. A lot of that has to do, and a lot of that is learned in preparation, in a camp, in the conversations with your coach in training, and the conversations with your coach out of training. All of this stuff matters. And so I see a path to victory. I see a 29-year-old kid who's a former world champion, who reads the comments on social media, who comes from a fighting family, who has been told that he's done, has been told that he looks washed, has been told that he's going to get steamrolled by a Brit in his backyard. And I think all of that makes it
for a perfect storyline for Figueroa. I watched the weigh-ins today. I was waiting to see if he looked drained. He looked good. He looked filled out, and he's gonna rehydrate. He's gonna put more weight on before fight night. And I think it's a perfect storm stylistically as well. He's not gonna have to run after and chase Nick Ball. Nick Ball's gonna be there. And Figueroa could crack. Figueroa, people act like he doesn't have power. Figueroa could punch. And he's super durable. You have a Mexican-American fighter who's super durable, who could punch, who's never been dropped, who's never been knocked out, and he only lost to one guy, another former world champion, Stephen Fulton, and you're telling me he's a 3-1 underdog. What do we do? Bro. And this is like, I mean, if you're gonna trash a guy and you're gonna call him washed, you better give me examples way more than just what you feel he looked like in his last fight, right? And if you're gonna say this fighter is washed, at least give me a path to victory for the fighter that you're telling everybody that is going to win. This is something that, when you watch, whoever you're watching, demand path to victory. Somebody asked me on a live stream this week, all right, Johnny, what is Brandon's path to victory? I don't see one. I was like, bro, his path to victory is going to be his body punching. I was like, his body work is going to be the key. Go to my YouTube channel. I did a short on this. I broke down Brandon and Nick side by side in slow motion punching. And I talked about how the size is going to play a factor and how Brandon's investment to the body was going to be the key narrative in this fight. Also, what I spoke about is the coaching. Not one talking. Dude, Manny Robles, how are talking heads not bringing up the fact that he took Andy Ruiz as an underdog? He went as an underdog and they won. He took Rafa. I think he was with Rafa against Robesi and they won. He took Resendez versus Caleb Plant and won. Figueroa versus Ball. These are major, major talking points that people who are covering the sport must talk about. And you know what? As long as they're not talking about it, good for us. Because we're going to continue to be the archaeologists and find our wins. Because this is what we do. Boxing isn't just about who's the biggest puncher or career trajectories. Each fight is its own fight. Each fight tells a story. And yeah, and you guys know it's not like Figueroa was on my no bet list. It's just sometimes the odds get it wrong. I'm gonna start saying what's up, guys. We're 20 minutes in. Hopefully, we're all up. Hit too many dogs, you remember, bro. That's how many dogs you call out weekly. Yeah, it's an important point because we get a lot of Johnny's babies, a lot of the trolls who judge us for our long parlay. It's like, bro, the long parlay is fun because we don't put dogs on the long parlay. And here's a teaching point because I saw some of you guys commenting. What do you guys always hear me say about dogs of the week? I will never, for my dog of the week, I will never pick a method of victory, and I will never put them on a parlay. If we're getting plus money, plus 280, plus 350, don't get greedy. Put that on its own ticket, dude. Because I know some of you boys took Brandon by decision and you got dusted. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to create a parlay around a dog, do a prop bet on, like I did the knockdown prop. I called the knockdowns too, by the way. I thought they were going to come due to the body punching. And I heard some of you guys talking about how going into the 12th, Brandon was down. You guys are smoking dope. If anything, it was 6-5 either way. Brandon could have been down 6-5. He could have been up 6-5. He could have been up 7-4. You could see Nick Ball fading. You could see the rounds and rounds of body punching deteriorating Nick Ball. You could watch the body language, the nonverbal in the corner. Nick Ball's face and his eyes from the 5th round onwards had this stare. It was almost like he saw a deer in the headlights, and he started bleeding around his nose around the 3rd. I was like, we got this. I was like, this is exactly why I picked the Mexican American who fights on the front foot, who's a freaking dog, who's durable, who has an engine, who is going to be there to the final round, who's never been stopped, who's never been knocked out. How is he an underdog? I was like, you're talking about a kid in Nick Ball who really fought a 122 pounder, Sam Goodman. If you would have, we broke that tape down. Sammy's from an hour from where I live. Sammy fought him tough, dude. This is a 5'5", 5'6", 122-pound kid, Sam Goodman, and he's thin. We're talking about Figueroa. So even if you were 6'5" the other way going into the 12, the body punching was the narrative in that story. Ball was broken down. Ball wasn't as durable as people thought he was going to be. He obviously can't punch. I told you guys that in my breakdown. And that beautiful hook, it was kind of like a straight shovel, sort of like screwdriver hook. The timing on that was poetic. This is why boxing is the greatest sport on earth. Turkey has mentioned he wants Figgy on the... I want to see Figueroa versus Leo. So when we're talking about unification fights, I don't want to see Figueroa versus Carrington. I think that's a bad matchup for Brandon. And I don't want to see Figueroa versus Rafa. But if we're talking like how to keep if we're talking, is there a unification fight for Brandon that he could win? I think Angelo Leo is a perfect matchup for him. Content creators really trying to justify Ball winning the fight. I know. This fucking... It's not that. Trying to justify when you're wrong without taking accountability shows you the narcissism somebody has. I'm not speaking specifics, but when we're wrong, you just got to say that you're wrong. You can't just say, well, he was winning until he wasn't. Bro, the game plan was exactly how Brandon Figueroa better saw it. It went exactly. It was going to be a nip and tuck fight. It was going to be brutal. Brandon wasn't going to back up. Brandon was going to be there the entire fight. Brandon was going to, implement a game plan. Coach Manny Robles in the corner was going to be an X factor. When you looked at the different corners, you saw Nick Ball's corner pretty much allowing Nick to be as he wanted to be. Like Nick was kind of controlling. He wasn't speaking, but you didn't hear Nick's corner saying, all right, son, all right. There was, you need to say switch on. It was like Nick was kind of standing there like this, and they're brushing him, and they're ice. In Brandon's Fig's corner, you heard why you bring in a Manny Robles. You heard what a Robert Garcia camp could do. This is your you are a champion. Look at me, like that sort of shit, boy. And those when what I told you, when skills at the highest level cancel each other out, when it gets dark and dirty in there, you got to start looking past the fighter. You got to start looking past, the individual and start looking at what camp are they in, who's their coach, what is the feedback they're getting. Do you think Joshua Pagan is a real deal? Now, look, Pagan, we featured him on the channel last fight. I know a lot of you guys didn't like his knockout to win ratio. He was going up against a tricky fighter with a good record, and I actually had Josh winning by knockout, and we hit. And generally, when I take a guy that I break down and I do a stats on live video, and we go plus money on a prop, I ride with them. Do I think he's real? I think psychologically he looks the part to me. I was impressed in his last fight. There's actually a fight on the undercard, the co-main, that I put in the Discord. If you guys aren't in the Discord, the link is pinned here. I think the odds might be wrong. And if you're in Australia, Bet365 is offering that fight, but Sportsbet isn't. And that fight happens in 48 hours. I was watching the replay and Ball was looking bad in the 11th. Yeah, he was looking, his eyes. Figgy for the win. There's Tuesday box. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna play it. I wanna fill our cup first. Let's fill our cup. Let's stay in the moment, said from Pet. Let's think about how many people called you guys crazy. How many people all weekend or the last 2 weeks called you crazy for picking Josh Kelly? Think about it. Time to fill out. How many people said you guys were gonna lose? How many people said you guys were crazy for taking Figueroa? There's no way he's going to go to the UK. How many people called you crazy when you showed them the clip last week of Brandon saying he wasn't going to leave it to the judges? How many people called you crazy? We played the clip of Brandon saying when asked about the Liverpool judges, he was like, "I'm not going to leave it to the judges. I'm going to knock them out." They called you crazy. Brandon can't knock anybody out. It's like, bro, what are we talking about here? Yeah, but if John Locke, I think it was always 50-50. The odds didn't say it was 50-50. And Google, go to YouTube, type in Ball versus Figueroa predictions, and let me know if it was 50-50. Let me know who else was picking Figueroa with the game plan, with the method of it. We're not just throwing shit on a wall. We're breaking it down from what we see in their careers stylistically. This isn't Figueroa versus Fulton. This is Nick Ball. He was going to be there to get hit. Ball doesn't use the entire ring. Ball's footwork is not good. It was crazy hearing the announcers talking about Nick Ball has great footwork. What are you talking about? He crosses his feet. He always goes to the same side. He always goes when he's circling out. He puts his back. You could tell they game plan for this. I would love to see or talk to Coach Manny Robles to see if they game plan for this, because I think they did. Every time Figueroa went from orthodox to southpaw and pressured in orthodox, and you can see Brandon do this almost every round. When he would go to southpaw, he would lower his hand here. He would lower his lead shoulder. He would take his lead foot and he would block Ball from exiting to Ball's left, because he knew Ball was never exiting right. Nick Ball he wouldn't move right. So even in the knockdown sequence, he goes southpaw, front leg, blocks his exit to go left. Ball then has to move back against the ropes. Brandon throws that body shot and then times the overhand. It was absolutely stunning. Ball is very limited in what he does because of his physical attributes being so limited. He's developed this style that just works for him that you wouldn't teach. And I talked about this last week. I said, those sort of styles are very predictable. Nick Ball is you could easily game plan for him. And that was stylistically perfect for Brandon, because we knew Brandon wouldn't have to chase him. We knew Brandon wouldn't have to run and force him to fight his fight. Dude, that is such an ego mistake on Nick Ball's game plan. Let me stand right in front of Brandon Figueroa and Nick Ball, what Nick Ball did do well, he punched better than I thought he would off the back foot, but he was one and done, and he was pot shotting. He wasn't throwing his combinations. The Swindler. Let's swindle the bookies today. Football fan holiday. I went big on the Seahawks. Darnold better not see the ghost. I do have a prop for the Super Bowl, but I posted it on our Patreon and I posted it on YouTube. I've done an Ohio State Buckeye prop because you guys know I'm a diehard Buckeye fan. So my Super Bowl prop is only focusing on Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm rolling the dice with JSN having a massive day. So let's go. That's my play. It's like a plus 900. Over Medina versus Curiel. Yep, Medina. We hit Medina on the money line, but I did a method of victory parlay. I picked Medina to get the knockout, but he didn't. So that was one of the method of parlays that I missed. Johnny, who do you have? Kakachi and Dickens. I love this fight. I break both fighters down. Kakachi's coming off that big win against Lethal. Jazz is coming off that big win against Albert Badargaziev. I gotta lean Kakachi here. I think Kakachi's physicality is going to be a little bit too much for Jazza. No, they're not. This is a great point. This is a great point. The Degenerates is a great point. The James Pierce situation. Okay, is sad, is lucky to be alive. Is this the fight I'm talking about? For further prediction, where can I join? So LeBron James, the link is pinned in the comment section. Join here on YouTube. It's a couple bucks a month. You get access to the Discord. Guys, our Discord isn't just boxing. Give you a heads up. It's MMA, this coming March, we're launching, because I live in Australia and I have season tickets to the Sydney Swans. So we're launching AFL, Australian football. I'm a West Tigers fan, NRL, so rugby. So we're launching AFL, rugby, and Major League Baseball. We have NBA, we have American football. We have, I might as well start, I was going to start an e-gaming channel because you guys were asking. Membership is worth it. I never had any subscription online besides this channel because, snap from Pet. Thank you, brother. GK. Me and GK was standing on business. Because, look, bang, we up. Everyone picked against Figueroa. Disrespectful, tough Texas kid. Yeah, Rio Grande Valley. I watched GK go on commenting on other channels and people torching him. People, like, him just saying that I think Figueroa is live here, or I think Brandon is a good matchup for Ball, will get other channels trolls to go after you. And now what? What are they going to say now, GK? Because we're not only breaking it down, predicting it, we're winning money on it. You see the receipts. Kyle, my guy, appreciate you, man. Kyle, thank you. Kyle, he's kind of our, we got Julius on the channel as our sort of secret weapon. I call him Mr. Sniper, boxing sharp. Julius is a G. And Kyle's another one of our secret weapons in our Discord. So hopefully the feds aren't listening. But we also live stream fights in the Discord. So that's because of Kyle. So shout out to Kyle. He's our guy. Win and great. Maybe just have win and green for the shirt. Yeah. So I'm glad you saw that. So I made that on, it was a quick mock-up for ChatGPT. And so Swindler, the S was the money sign, and then I typed in just WIN in green, and then somehow it blended in. Guys, if anybody has any info on a drop shipping t-shirt company, I asked the Discord. Shout out to Pappy in the Discord. He messaged me. I don't need a graphic designer. I need to know if you guys know of any companies that will drop ship for me to where I don't have to have my hands on the product. I got 2 different shirts, and I got some I write books. I want to, with the shirts, do you guys know of any companies that I could upload my logo, upload the image, and then they do the storefront for me, and then they just take a percentage of sales? Because I got a couple designs I want to start selling, and I want to start wearing, because we're growing. We're approaching 27.5 thousand subs on YouTube. Only a couple years ago, we were at 2,000, so that's growing. Our Discord, we just surpassed 350 JSB insiders, and the Instagram's at about 43,000. So we're building our boxing community, and I kind of struggle with, it's not my strength from that side. I'm sure there's some sort of company out there. I'm just not aware of one. Next week, calm week, after Garcia, Barrios, Strickland versus Hernandez. Dude, don't sleep on Fluffy. Dude, I've been watching Fluffy for Hernandez when he put belt to ass against the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion in the UFC. Big dude definitely was on the gear. Yeah, so Mosby's black, and I'm going to do a black one and white one. The white one was just for promotional stuff. Swindler t-shirts when they give you lemon. So I think I'm going to do the Swindler one and one that just says "We Up." You got to do it. What do you think, Nick, for Nick Ball? Tune up or no tune ups, long way off like expect? I think Nick will be fine. I think he's going to take a lot from the loss. I think I would be if I was Nick Ball, I would be, get healthy first. I would be drilling footwork. And it was shocking to see how limited he was with his own setups. I was thinking, like, what is his game plan? You could see a clear, evident game plan from Figueroa. Balls was like, let me just punch off my back foot and try to counter him for the whole fight. And that maybe change. I don't know. I don't want to trash anyone's camp, especially after a loss. He comes from a good camp. A lot of those guys are like brothers in Liverpool. And, there's a lot of prospects. I mean, what about Andrew Kane, though, dude? Atrocious. I just wanted to mention this. The Liverpool crowd who was throwing cups at Figueroa's camp for celebrating a fight in which he was a dog, where he goes into your backyard and he knocks out your champion to become the champion, and you get salty because they celebrate? Fuck you. Like, this is like, what do you guys, you're going to throw cups at him? And you got Andrew Kane running into the ring and kicking one of the people. And dude, I would ban Andrew Kane for a year. I would 100% suspend Andrew Kane for a year. He attacked, he kicked somebody in Figueroa's corner because he was butthurt because his boy got knocked out and they were celebrating one of the biggest wins of their career. Do you realize how much you should know of all people, Andrew Kane, how much blood, sweat, and tears goes into a camp? I would definitely 100% suspend Andrew Kane. That shit was atrocious. What's up, Johnny? Figueroa won my nice bad special catch. Oh, Frank. Boy, that's that Battle Creek mindset. Dude, that's a great live catch. Plus 1100 on the nut. So Brandon, you saw it coming. You could see what I mean if we rewatch that fight and we slow motion or just focus on the in between round corner interactions of Nick Ball and what he was looking like. I felt like from the third or fourth round onwards, his eyes looked definitely glazed. What's up, Johnny? Your boxing knowledge is somehow the underdog whisperer. The swindler. The swindler says if Ball goes up in weight, he'll get knocked out even quicker. I think he's fine there, right? I think he's fine there. Take age like fine wine. Andrew Ruiz and Joshua as well. That's right. Anyone who rolled out Figueroa doesn't know anything. It was a 50-50 fight, and Brandon had a big size advantage. How anyone could think Ball would destroy. I mean, all you have to do, John, is look at the YouTube talking head takes. You'll see what I'm talking about. And I don't even want to talk like I'm talking about guys in my circle. You know, Paulie, Tommy, Gary, all picked. This is 2 weeks in a row, and I didn't mess it. I'll wait until Tommy hits me up. Tommy's my boy. And when we disagree, I just want you guys to know this. Even with Gary, with Gary, with Paulie Malignaggi, with Tommy right now, when we're disagreeing in chat, I don't try to prove anything. It's not like I'm trying to sell my pick. I don't. I'm like, all right. And, you know, I just didn't see it. They thought Nick Ball was going to starch Brandon. They thought Bachram was going to starch Josh. I didn't see it. Rafa was with Manny. Dude, see, this is what I'm talking about, dude. People need to put some goddamn respect on Manny Robles. That whole camp. It's you know, maybe it's because I coach. I don't know. But what I look forward when I'm doing tape is one of my talking points is who is their coach? What game plan are we going to see? You know what I'm saying? With Robert Garcia, you know we're going to have a fighter who's going to have a body punching heavy game plan. He's going to be on point with his film study. And his fighter is also going to execute that game plan because a coach could only do so much. The coach can't go in there with you, but there's certain coaches are special. They have a certain connection with their fighters. Something RGBA does really well is they're able to get inside their fighter's head, get the fighter to trust them, and then their fighter will execute the game plan. Manny Robles, the same thing. Psychologically, his fighters feel connected with him. They feel safe with the guy. They feel like they're part of something. So the game plan is going to be on point. They're going to be also high-level body punchers, and they're going to have this mental capacity to think that they're never out of a fight. You never see a Coach Robles fighter like this, like in a fight that they're losing. Do you realize how much psychological boxing is? You guys know this. The importance, the relevance of psychology in a fight. It's not just who's bigger. It's not just who's undefeated. It's not just who's better. When the shit gets freaking dark and turmoil and disaster is right in front of you, you know, it's like, who are you going to be into that? Who are you going to be in the foxhole with? It's an old war analogy. Who am I going to invite into my foxhole when there's bullets and bombs and explosions? And this is something Robles does really well. It was a major talking point for me. Dudes that talk about sport too busy glassing certain fighters. Yeah. And I told you, if you're new to the channel, I'm not a fan of fighters. I'm a fan of the sport. That's a fact. I think that allows me to stay neutral, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a fan of fighters. I'm a fan of the sport. For you know, if you watch my channel, I had Brandon Figueroa on my no bet list, and because I was a fan of the sport, watching tape, I was like, hold up. I think we're onto something here. Brando was up to the top. See, Ziggy. Exactly. I thought it could have been 6-5 or 7-4. Especially the mid to later rounds. There were some close rounds though. Yeah, Manny said 2 judges. They did. We had there's the scorecards are public. They put them in our Discord, so the scorecards are public. Figueroa's condition ball for the southpaw stance. Bro, the setup was gorgeous. I love the way you put that. Figueroa condition ball for the southpaw stance. He tricked him by going to the body. Then he went upstairs with it. Yes, it was a trap. And that lead foot, what he did with that lead foot. And the angle of how he threw the backhand this time. You know, it's usually because, you know, Figgy has the, you know, every fighter has a tell. Brandon has a lot of tells, which is fine, right? When he's from southpaw, he throws that whole lead shoulder down here, and he throws that hook here. He threw the hook this time. He kept it tight, and he actually caught. He timed ball's jab. Ball throws the jab. Figueroa turns on his backhand hook and gets it in between Ball's right hand. So in the slow motion video, you can see Ball throwing the jab. As soon as the jab gets here, Figueroa lets his backhand go, and you can see Ball right before he gets knocked out. His right hand is not. That is a beautifully timed punch when you're punching with your opponent. And what do we know about Figueroa? That dude spends his whole career punching with his opponents. Hearing my name on here a lot today. I miss you guys too. Ball was not getting cooked. It was like I said, I agree. It was close. I didn't like Ball's body language down the stretch. I think that, look, if you're a Nick Ball fan, there's some stuff to take home. But I thought it was only a matter of time. I was never sold on Nick at that level. Hit 3 dogs, Josh, Moritai, Brandon. Brandon, mate. See, the only pick I've missed in a while was Andy Cruz. So good call on Kelly, Ray, and Figueroa. On the channel, brother. The link is pinned here, LeBron. What happened to Thursday MMA streams? We had, I know we got, it's tough. Kiza, this is in life, whatever you guys do in life. One of the most challenging things to do is create new systems, whether your system is wanting to get healthy, or your system is starting a new career, or your system is even waking up earlier, going to bed earlier. Implementing the new system is the most difficult part. So I gave you guys a Stats Don't Lie video though this week. You know what I'm saying? So be patient with me. I'm a late bloomer. You know what I'm saying? I did launch our Stats Don't Lie MMA series this week. I gave you guys Mario Batista versus Loke Dog, and we got it right. So the streams will be there. Just give me time. Rando, my guy. We up. We still good. You should add the hat to the hat you're wearing. Thank you. The Swindler Says hat. Kane on the dislike list. Yeah, Boxing Booth. I can't believe Andrew Kane, how he 100%. And Boxing Booth, like, this is my loyalty to the sport. If that would have been anybody else in the corner, I would react the same. Watching how Andrew Kane, just the immaturity in his game just shows you that he's still operating at an emotional level. From boyhood to men are able to control those emotions. Men are able to adapt. The minute we start acting emotionally in stressful situations, this is science. Our cognition, our ability to cognitively make decisions diminishes. So when you see people, whether it's in this instance, we're talking about Andrew Kane jumping into the ring and trying to drop kick Brandon Figueroa's corner because his boy got knocked out, that just shows you he's operating, and he just had a tough fight in which he could have been knocked out. He had to come back from the dead. He knows this game. He knows this business. For him to do that, man, the dislike list is real. So I don't want to see Brandon versus Shushu. I want to see Carrington versus Rafa, I think Brandon would have a better chance against Angelo Leo. If we're talking we like to talk unifications here. So Syriac, yeah, I think Shushu's a tough matchup for Brandon in terms of like the speed, the catch and shooting, the timing, the punch placement, the whole where they are in their careers. Even though once again, Shushu and Brandon are almost the same age, Brandon does have miles on that clock. So if I were his handlers, as I would move Brandon, I wouldn't look past the chance of unifying because now we're talking legacy. I mean, Brandon Figueroa, the history books will always say 3 division world champion. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I think it'd be a very, very competitive fight, him versus Angelo Leo. I'd be interested to see what those odds would be. I think of all the champions, that would be Figueroa's best chance to unify. Absolutely silencing the crowd was brilliant. Guys, what a moment. I had a lot of stuff on, so I'm like hanging out with the family, doing my normal Sunday life, watching Figueroa versus Ball on my phone, right? I'm watching it on my phone. And when he knocked him out, and we're going into an elevator, the Aussies call them lifts. We're going into a lift to go to this third floor. And when he drops him, I go, holy shit. And my girlfriend, she's really quiet and she's really, she's like, what's wrong? My phone flies. It was crazy. And then when I spent my whole day out. And then when I got back home, because, to my house, my kingdom, I rewatched the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th rounds. And it was magnificent. Add the hat you're wearing, the shirt, this hat sitting on the money. Thank you. Our chat's educated. I'm going to take you up on it, John Locke. What's your take on Pagan with the ladies fight on DAZN? Give me till tomorrow. I know we're going to have to dig our boots in quick. To give you guys a heads up, it's 8 a.m. here. I have to go to a funeral today. So my sister-in-law's father-in-law passed away. He had a good run. He was 90. When we get to that age, if we're fortunate enough to get to that age, the way I look at life and death, I always say life is play. And as we age through this life, like I have friends, I have clients, like I'll be 44 in April. I have a client, she's 40. She's really fighting against the aging side of things. And I always try to tell her, I'm like, we should be grateful to get older. Think about how many people that you probably knew when you were younger who passed away young, or think of how sad childhood cancers are, or when children are, their lives are taken way too soon. So as we get older, I mean, at 44, no matter how my story ends, I'm always going to be grateful for having an opportunity to get old. And so for my sister-in-law's father-in-law at 90 years old, it's a sad moment when people pass, but the way I operate mentally is I like to celebrate the idea that he had 9 decades on earth. So funerals are sad, but I think how we frame the world around us is very important. And mental strength allows us to be strong in dark times. So one of my favorite quotes, I always say it, life is play. So it's how I look at life. Life is play. That's a good idea, adding the hat on the shirt. Okay. All right, the boys. This is a community effort. Sup, Johnny? What a great night of fighting. Kane and Figueroa twist. Great call on Figueroa. I really saw the fight progressing the other way with Ball possibly stopping him late. Mike from Melbourne. Great. We've had some good boxing, boys. We got boxing in 48 hours. I don't know how people had Nick Ball winning wide before the knockout. It was really close, Wonka. It was really close. I think people who said Nick was winning wide bet on him. Sometimes we've all been guilty of this. We get those blinders on when we bet. Some people, I'm the opposite. If the guy I bet on, I always think they're losing. So, like, I'm watching that Josh Kelly fight. I'm thinking Josh is going to get knocked out. Like, even when Josh dropped Murdazalov early, I'm like, well, Josh is about to get knocked out. 10th round comes around. We saw it happen. The 11th round comes around. 12th round, even with 30 seconds left, I'm like, well, I lost this bet. I'm about to get torched. Josh is going to get knocked out. But this is how I look at whenever there's 50-50 fights, or I break down and I pick the dog, my mindset, rather than looking at it like he's up, I'm thinking he's losing. Boxing can be stressful, boys. You know that. There's only one Figueroa. Only one Figueroa. Bro, what a moment. What a moment, dude. When Brandon Figueroa had his Arturo Gotti moment. Brandon Figueroa had his Chico Corrales. You know, he didn't have to pick himself up off of the ground, but think of how Figueroa's stature is and think of his style. I was thinking last time, I was like, who from my upbringing, I was a huge Diego Corrales fan. Diego was tall and long for his division, lanky, didn't have a perfect record, fan-friendly style, would get hit too much, was a dog. So I was like, Brandon Figueroa might be akin to almost a Chico Corrales. There's only one Figueroa. Low-key, haven't been here in a while, looking like that 70s boxing announcer with a hat and cigar. Burt Sugar. Guys, we're floating between 40 and 60. Could we like this video? Could you subscribe if you haven't already? I appreciate all the day ones. I appreciate all the new subscribers. Our Discord has surpassed 350 JSB insiders. We're growing on all of our platforms. If you're on Instagram, follow me there. We just broke, I think, 42,000 on IG. Just say, hey, Johnny, it's so-and-so from YouTube. I'll follow you back. I use my Instagram stories as sort of a 24/7 news ticker. So it's a good way to stay kind of in the loop on all things JSB. Even the commentators were disrespecting Brandon during the fight, made the win. Yeah, which is expected, isn't it? Burt Sugar is the commentator's name. OG. Dave Harley. Well done, trying to come back on the fight. Just felt it was close. Do you think Terry Harper? I think Terry Harper has a chance against Caroline. I do. I mean, Terry Harper, people are either going to know her from her Instagram videos, very fit woman. They should know her for, being a multi-division world champion. But then when she fought Alicia Baumgardner. And so they're using this performance because we know Caroline wants that Alicia fight. So it's like Terry is like sort of like the measuring stick. I think Caroline is good. I think she has a long way to go. I think Terry Harper is hungry. The last thing we ever want to do in our sport is what? Underestimate a veteran. Take the Seahawks in the over. Well, my prop is JSN 7+ catches, JSN 100 yards, and JSN to score twice. So we'll see. I think Brandon can beat Shushu. Oh, shit. Hot take. Top Rank did a good job with him. He lost to Malik and Johnny Mansour in the amateurs. Malik Montgomery is the guy that Joshua Pagan is coming off beating. And Pagan stopped him. Pagan's fighting in 48 hours. Anyone that's a fan of the show lost is a friend of mine. Yeah, well, John Locke is actually Paradise Lost. So the book Paradise Lost. It was a knockout from the first knockdown, but the referee was doing his typical hometown delay BS. It was a knockout, the first knockdown. So do you remember, Zach, when the announcer said, he's going to give the champion a chance to recover? It was a bad knockdown. So I'm not trying to prove. I'm happy it was a knockdown because I hit my prop because I picked over one knockdown at plus 400. I'm happy, but I see your point. If a minus 1,500 ends up being an underdog during the fight, the value is always lays them when I notice. They come back, win, and you get great value on it. Kevin, preaching. The referee was definitely trying to give him extra time after the first knockdown. He asked him if he was okay, dusted him off, kissed him on the... I know. Gave him a cup of tea. It was kind of a cute moment, right? Bro, my bad. Mo 187, we figured it out. You figured it out. You were like, Johnny, check your junk folder. So I apologize for the delay. I wasn't doing that intentionally. We got you in there, and it's good to have you, brother. Yo. Orion Samaru. I was born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio, a boxing town. Grew up in Youngstown. At 18, I got a scholarship to go to the University of Pittsburgh. stayed at Pitt for a few years, moved to South Carolina to play baseball, Myrtle Beach for a few summers, drove cross country with my girlfriend and my dog when I was 22 to move to Southern California, lived in Long Beach, California on the border of Orange County and Seal Beach for about 7 to 8 years, then moved to Las Vegas, went to grad school in Las Vegas, and then moved to Sydney, Australia in 2013. How's it possible for Vinicius Oliveira to be a UFC fighter, guys out in round one, not even fighting? You know what I think it was, Kiza, is that he walks around at 170 pounds. That fight was at 135. I think he was bragging about cutting he cuts like 30 pounds in a week. So I brought this up in the breakdown. I think he's just in the wrong weight class. He's massive. Massive. Nice, Jason is a beast. Yeah, so low key, I'm a diehard Ohio State Buckeye fan. So growing up in Northeast Ohio, I'm a diehard Browns fan too. But with Cleveland, it's been slim pickings. But like my uncles, all my relatives went to Ohio State. Diehard Buckeye fans since day one. Yeah, okay, I got you. I just type in Lost John Locke and you'll see the character. Yeah. Brandon, great show. Great show. Ziggy, who do you think spot Ishmael Davis for? Mate, I feel our team here, JSB Insiders, I feel we had a little speckle of effort in getting Bilal Fawaz in the mainstream. I felt nobody else was covering Bilal Fawaz. We covered Bilal Fawaz. We featured Bilal Fawaz. We broke down the rematch between him and Janae Boston. We did a catch up with Bilal Fawaz. We did the follow up on Instagram. People were sharing, and then he gets signed. I did a whole little story on Bilal, and he was living in the UK since 2004, and the UK government wouldn't give him residency, and he wasn't allowed to fight at the Olympics. And so he was caught in limbo. He couldn't travel. And so watching Bilal Fawaz overcome all of this at 36, 37 years old and get the residency and get signed with Eddie and get this feature fight with Ishmael Davis, coming off that huge victory against Janae Boston, in which we picked him to win a plus 340, which that entire thing started Ticketgate when Muscles shared the fake ticket. Bilal Fawaz has a special place in our hearts here at JSB Insiders. So we'll get there when we get there. I'm glad he's getting a feature. Guys, I got to go to a funeral. I'll see you soon. Big love. Let's go. We up. We still good.